My heart says please, please, but my gut says this kind of thing doesn't happen around here, in recent years.
Yeah, it's tough because, I think of late, everybody will point to Week 17 last year when they probably should have beaten the Giants and they came out and totally laid an egg. And that's kind of the fresh, we have a chance and they didn't take advantage of it sort of game in most people's minds. And you look at the Vikings coming in, I mean, they've got a really good record. They're 6-2, but if you look at a lot of these wins, I mean, their last 3 games they faced some combination of Deshaun Kaiser and Kevin Hogan and, whoever is playing quarterback for the Browns. They beat up a pretty bad Ravens team at this point, and then they were facing, mostly an Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers team. I mean, he got hurt early in that game. So they're not, they're piling up wins, but if you look at kind of strength of schedule, and that stat has certainly been talked about, this for them to get back some of their interior. I don't believe Trent's coming back this week. He kind of certainly hinted at that. But if you get back Sheriff and you get back Laval, and as long as Zach Brown's injury is not a major thing, which I don't think it is, I think he's starting to be one of their most important players. I think they should be okay.
I saw some of the post guys were kicking around first half MVP for the Skins. Some, pretty, immediately I would think Kirk Cousins, but then there are other guys, that certainly might merit a better call there. Maybe Chris Thompson, maybe Zach Brown. Who would you give first half MVP to at this point?
I think if you can only give it to one guy, I think it is Thompson, just because he's made so many big plays for you. Mm-hmm. But Zach Brown leads the NFL in tackles, and a lot of the guys he's kind of competing against for that are just now getting to their bye weeks. He was leading the NFL in tackles even with a Week 5 bye,
right,
which is really pretty remarkable. He's brought speed to that defense, and he has really helped them be better against the run. It's tough because when John Allen was playing, and certainly when John Allen and Matt Ioannidis were playing, they weren't just better against the run. They were really good against the run. Now it's starting to shift a little as those injuries kind of add up on the defensive line. But, DJ Swearinger is the leader, but Zach Brown has really been a big-time infusion of talent. And then, obviously, Kirk, it's hard to kind of down value. I mean, a good quarterback in this league, you got no chance without it. And I think Kirk has put them in position to win just about all but one game. Now, they haven't done it, and he hasn't always done it late in games, but he certainly did it in Seattle. And they had a chance in Kansas City, the first Philly game. Even that Dallas game, they had the ball late down a score. So I have a feeling that by the end of the season, the conversation will be pretty clearly Kirk is the MVP. That's just kind of how the quarterback position is in the NFL.
Absolutely. So this is a clear toss-up in my eyes. But the fact that Minnesota has a bye in between, they're well-rested, defensive line really going to come after Kirk. Kirk's been sacked, I think, 18 times in their 4 losses. So this defensive line's big. Their secondary is really good. Now, they don't, their offense isn't explosive, but they don't have to be because their defense limits to 16, 17 points. But it's a toss-up to me. Bickle's pressing me on making a pick. I picked the Vikings. And since they're coming off that bye, I think that really helps.
Ultimately,
right,
a lot of NFL games come down to quarterback play. I don't know that Case Keenum's very good. I think if this was 2 weeks from now and Bridgewater had been back up and running and was able to go, I think it'd be a different game. Or if they still had Sam Bradford, I think it'd be a different game. I mean, you talk about the bye. They're on a 4-game win streak, and they just had to sit around for a week. Now, maybe that helps them get healthy, but you can argue also that will slow down a little bit of momentum. If you remember last year, the Eagles were on fire early in the year, had a relatively early bye week, and it kind of seemed to mess up their momentum kind of going forward when the Skins faced them. I don't know that will happen with Minnesota, but to your other point, as far as their defense, it is very legit. I think, after that incredible catch last week, a lot of folks are expecting Josh Doxson's really going to get going. I don't know that it happens this week. I imagine he will draw Xavier Rhodes for a lot of the game, who is a really top-notch cornerback. if I had to guess, this is a big game for Chris Thompson, maybe some of the other guys to get involved. Maybe Jordan Reed. Yesterday Jordan Reed told us he hopes to be back out there. If not him, maybe Vernon Davis. But I don't know, guys, if you saw it or they talked about it on the broadcast, but Vernon's hand was really messed up after that game. I tend to like the Redskins in this one just because I think they're going to have more momentum from last week. And I just think if you look at the numbers, certainly the Vikings are better record-wise, but the Redskins have scored more touchdowns on the year. I just don't see how the Vikings get to 20 points in this thing with the way the Redskins defense has played. And I think despite Minnesota having a really good defense, that the Skins should be able to get to 24, something like that.